Obviously, this year has not gone as we planned, so we really want to focus on what 2024 and beyond would look like. And we felt like as we had players that were attractive to other teams, we had players that were becoming free agents, and we felt like the timing, albeit unique for the St. Louis Cardinals, we had to do this. It's not a happy moment, but we certainly are excited about the future opportunity we were able to acquire today.
That was John Mozeliak yesterday after the St. Louis Cardinals made their first two significant deals at this year's trade deadline alongside Alex Ferrario and Tanner Hendrickson. I'm Brandon Kiley. We'll talk about those deals basically all day long today here on BK and Ferrario. We have two fantastic guests coming up later on in the show to help us break them down. J.J. Cooper is the editor-in-chief of Baseball America, one of the best websites that you can go to find out more information on prospects. He's going to join us at 12:30. We've got Katie Woo, the Cardinals insider for The Athletic, joining us at 1 o'clock, as she does each and every Monday. But, Alex, we begin with John Mozeliak's comments from yesterday. We knew the Cardinals were going to have to make these trades. Jordan Montgomery and Jordan Hicks were both always likely to leave. Stratton, same way. You've got expiring deals. Get something for the guys that are right now in the last 2 months of their Cardinals career, most likely. So what they did yesterday is they flipped Monty and Stratton to the Rangers, and then they sent Jordan Hicks up to the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm going to start out with this, the obvious. I like the Montgomery trade a lot. That is not to suggest that I don't like the Hicks trade. I think it's fine. They got a couple of guys that project to be depth starters for them based on all of the prospect reports that you see. Let's focus for a minute, though, on the Monty and Stratton deal that sent them to the Rangers. This is the upside deal, Alex, in my opinion. They got a guy, John King. Pretend he's not even in this deal. He's going to be up here for like the rest of this year. The likelihood he might not even be with the Cardinals next year.
My favorite part of this deal.
The King has returned.
Matter. He's a throw-in.
Whoa!
I'm going to call him Lil T. Thomas. How are we going to pronounce his last
JC.
name?
I just looked it up.
Sajaci?
Yeah.
Thomas Sajaci, otherwise known as Lil T.
No, T-Bone.
And then
T-Bone's
TK Roby, who is the pitcher in this one. Those two prospects were the best prospects that the Cardinals got yesterday based on basically everybody's report. Roby is the pitcher in this one. He projects kind of similarly, it seems like, to Gordon Graceffo. He could be a number 2 if everything goes well. Look over here. That's the good part. The bad part, he's got a shoulder injury right now, and he had an elbow injury a couple of years ago. So you got some health concerns. Welcome to pitching, guys.
He can't be hurt the rest of his career. He did it all now.
Good thing that didn't affect our number 1 this year.
Lil T?
Or in the past.
The guy is a perfect Cardinal. Tell me if you've heard this profile for a Cardinals prospect
Would you
before.
want him to date your daughter?
Absolutely.
Okay, well then, yeah,
Apparently
perfect
a
Cardinal.
Great teammate.
Perfect Cardinal.
He does not wear batting gloves. He is undersized. He's got some versatility. He can play second. He can play third. You apparently do not want him playing shortstop, though. He's got Matt Duffy size, but hits the ball pretty hard. He's a free swinger. Dude, this guy is the prototypical Cardinal. He's going to have a 10-year career here in St. Louis, and he's going to be a fan favorite for years to come. I really liked the return that they were able to get there. I was pretty happy overall with what they did yesterday. Alex, what was your biggest takeaway?
There's one thing I know about Cardinals fans. They love little scrappy infielders. Little scrappy infielders are going to be the way to Cardinals fans' hearts. Look, I was pleased and optimistic of the return that they got, and that was just when you saw the names, Googling it and looking at it on Baseball America and seeing where they rank and checking out where they were in the prospect system. And then once you read more pieces, whether it was Keith Law or Andy McCullough from The Athletic, talking about the upside that they got in a couple of these players, especially in Roby, who was somebody who could project, quotation marks, if the injuries don't hurt him, you got somebody who could be a number 2 in a rotation, and then you got an infielder that it seems like if all the things continue this way, he's going to be an everyday infielder for the major league club. So this was you weren't going to get much for the return of a Jordan Montgomery and a Chris Stratton, so you get the best available offer from a team. Part of me was a little frustrated because I was like, man, if you just would have held out a little longer, maybe you would have had more teams battling over somebody like Jordan Montgomery, because pitching, everybody wants pitching, and everybody needs pitching right now. And now the Padres don't seem like they're selling. Cardinals are going to have everybody. But when you see the names and you see the reports on these guys that they got in return, it sure seems like they did what John Mozeliak mentioned in terms of going out there, finding guys with swing and miss stuff, and finding guys that can replenish your pitching system that could be contributors next year.
T-Bone?
Yeah, I like what they did because I think there's two kind of high upside guys here. You got the infielder who I think looks like a potential, has a Harrison Bader kind of bat profile where he might be a free swinger, 15 to 20 home runs, but he plays infield positions like a Brendan Donovan or a Tommy Edman. And then you get the high upside in Roby if his shoulder ends up healing and he has potential as a number 2. And then you look at the other guys they brought in Sagasy and Kloffenstein. I think you look at those guys and they provide depth for you next year. They're probably at best number 5 starters. But next year, they're guys that are in AAA. You deal with injuries in your rotation. Unlike this year, where you have to rush Adam Wainwright back from the IL, you have potentially these guys to call up. So I like what they did yesterday. I like the fact that they took some swings on some guys in the Texas Rangers deal and went for more certainty in the Blue Jays deal. I really like what they did. I would give them a B because I think the only way you can earn an A on deals like this is if you get a really big steal. And I don't think they ended up with a steal.
Or major league talent.
Yeah.
Like last year, I think they got an A. It's different, of course, but I think the Yankees and the Cardinals somehow both came out of last year's deadline with an A for the Montgomery for Bader deal.
Yeah.
The Yankees got what they needed, a defensive center fielder that's got some upside with the bat. The Cardinals got what they needed, a mid-tier starter that throws from the left side and helps them not just for last year, but for this year as well. That's an A deal. These are Bs because you got a guy in TK Roby who's got upside. Legit could be a number 2 starter in your rotation upside. Yeah, there's a good chance. In fact, the overwhelming likelihood is he breaks your heart, along with every other pitching prospect you've ever seen. That's what happens with these guys. So you bet on upside there. You bet on what feels like, even if it's not, more certainty with the 2 arms that they got in return for Jordan Hicks. These guys seem to be depth additions. They could be number 5 starters, where TK Roby, if you're looking at the Cardinal system, and you guys know more about these guys than you do probably other prospects, I do as well. TK Roby is similar to Graceffo. The guys that they got in the Hicks return remind me a little more of McGreevy, where it's they pitch to contact a little more. There's not a ton of swing and miss, but they could be major league starters for you. And they could be major league starters elsewhere. Maybe a year from now, they're flipping them at the deadline to be able to get the starters that you need or to get the bat that you need. So I like what they were able to do in terms of the depth that they added to their pitching in the system. That was necessary.
Here's why I really liked what they did, and it's not so much of, you didn't get the upside with some of these guys, although you did with Roby, you took a shot, but it's something Tebow mentioned there. You got guys who more than likely project to be number 5s, and to me, you didn't have enough of those to get you through this season. You didn't have enough guys that when you went to AAA to call them up, they were able to help you. All you had were 2 guys, with the exception of Jake Woodford, who was injured, but you didn't have much. And for the Cardinals to go down there, and these guys aren't 1s or 2s, but you're not going to get 1s or 2s for Jordan Montgomery or Jordan Hicks. This was the best return you got, and what you did was going into next season, I don't have to focus, if I'm John Mozeliak, in the offseason of finding more guys who could be number 5s. I've got Matt. I've got a couple of these guys that I just acquired in the trades. I've got a couple of guys in my system already. Now the focus is making a big trade or making a big signing for the tops.
So we did get this on the text line, and I think it's the biggest criticism that I have seen on what happened yesterday for the Cardinals. By the way, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. From the 314, guys, these are bad deals. They do not help the Cardinals win in 2024. I do not think they are bad deals because of that. I think we come to the same conclusion, or we have the same idea but different conclusions. I tend to agree that these aren't going to be a huge help next year. Could these guys factor into the plans for 2024? Yes. Do I think they are the primary plans in the rotation or in the bullpen? I would say probably not, nor should they be. I think what happened yesterday is the Cardinals helped to prevent themselves from being in this position in 2025 and beyond, with the deals that they were able to make and with the arms that are currently in the system. The problem is that they are here at all. They should not be in this position. But now that you are, let's prevent it from happening again. So this should help that. But the odds were you selling your expiring deals, they were not going to fix your rotation for 2024, guys. That was going to require you to trade position players. It was going to require an offseason move, and it was going to require free agency. That's how you fix your rotation for next year. And we all knew that. I think we tried to prepare people for that last week on the show when we started to look into, like, could you get Clark Schmidt? Who are you going to trade to get these guys? And if you look at the AAA pitching guys across Major League Baseball, minor league baseball, I guess, these guys stink. all over. All of the pitching prospects that are really close to the majors right now tend to be pretty bad. So the Cardinals were able to go out there and get guys at the AA level that are now going to be in the Cardinals AAA affiliate that can help them as depth pieces for 2024 and beyond. But that's what they were going to get, and I kind of like what they ended up being able to go out there and acquire.
Yeah, look, the fact that these deals are Bs is a good sign, but their deadline grade is not done yet. Their report card is incomplete. They still have moves to make, including bolstering more depth into the system with a Flaherty deal, potentially a Helsley Gallegos deal, and they also are still targeting, as we had John Morosi on the show Friday say, at minimum they need to get one starter that helps them for 2024. So though I think these deals were good, their report card is not done yet on the deadline because they've still got, 48 hours to get things determined and what else they're going to be doing. But I like these deals because, though, yes, I don't think it was even reasonable to say you were going to get help for 2024. They help with depth. I mean, 4 of the guys that you acquired yesterday, 3 of those 4 slot into the top 10 in your prospect pool, according to MLB Pipeline. And that's that's really good. The fact that you've got, now, granted, that's really good, but it also may be a sign of what your prospect system was. But it's good to see that you're able to bolster that and add some arms that maybe, whether they help you in 2025 or at minimum help at best help you in 2024, prevent you from falling into the same scenario you're in right now.
I would even add on to what T-Bone said, and the report card's not going to be done on this trade deadline. Frankly, the report card's not going to be done until I see what he does in the offseason, because none of these guys, including Jack Flaherty, if you still trade him, or even a Dylan Carlson, unless you're packaging them together, they're not fixing the top end of your rotation. The guys that will fix the top end of your rotation are Donovan, Gorman, Nootbaar. These guys that they're going to have to muster up and trade, because that's how you fix the top end of your rotation. Anything else that's done between now and tomorrow at 5 o'clock, that's just going to help the depth for 2024, which is why at least I'm optimistic about it.
So can I get you guys excited?
Yeah.
Did somebody just get traded while we were talking? Okay.
It's about one of the guys that the Cardinals got in return.
No.
It's a little T.
Is his shoulder
Did
healthy?
his shoulder repair?
No.
I saw he called Mo and was going to ask if he could throw again.
He
But
wanted to go play
Cardinals
catch.
are starting him tomorrow, probably.
He said, hey, Mo.
Can I go play catch?
Can I have a catch?
Sounds like a little kid.
Oh, God.
So Lil T, the infielder that they got, and the reason, guys, why I'm calling him Lil T is 5'11", $175. He's like
Technically,
Matt
T-Bone's
Duffy.
smaller than him, so I think T-Bone should
Is
be
he?
Lil T.
T-Bone's shorter.
I'm 5'8". Yeah.
Yeah, T-Bone's smaller.
What's your listed weight?
You can't ask him that on air, man.
Unbelievable.
Over under 175.
I think under.
Okay.
I'm gonna raise my hand. Tell me when to stop. When we get a little higher or lower. Tell me when.
Well, what are we winding up for?
All right, Lil T, the infielder that they got. He's really interesting.
Oh, jeez. Again, Cardinals fans love little scrappy infielders, man.
Reminds me
What
of-
if I told you his numbers at AA are better than Jordan Walker's numbers at AA last year?
So we say we got a 5'11" Jordan Walker?
I mean, I'm not telling you that he's going to be Jordan Walker.
You trade Nolan Gorman if that's the case.
Jordan, I want to say this on the
Walker.
front end because sometimes when people hear that, they're like, oh, he's going to be Jordan. No.
Well, then why'd you say it if you didn't believe that?
Because based on production, he's been really impressive, dude.
Expecting
this
batting
guy's
average
hitting
guy.
315. No. These are the actual stats. Some of the underlying numbers are less good.
Cherry pick.
He's batting 315 right now down in AA. He's slugging 515. If you look at the OPS plus, so adjust for what the league is doing at that time, he's been better than Jordan Walker was last year. This is a guy that could factor into the Cardinals' plans sooner rather than later. Does make me wonder, why'd they trade for another second baseman? You've got like 12 of them on the roster right now. This guy replacing Taylor Motter? Do they not want Taylor Motter around anymore?
That's impossible because you can even DFA Taylor Motter and still bring him back.
Yesterday.
Taylor Motter is the ultimate comeback story. There should be a movie about him.
I do find this guy to be really interesting, and if I was going to do a tinfoil, Alex, my tinfoil would be they acquired him for a reason.
Oh, yeah, that's not a tinfoil.
And it would be because they know the likelihood is they're going to have to trade one of their middle infielders at the deadline to get the pitching that you all on the text line right now are asking for. Problem is that means giving up on Brendan Donovan or Nolan Gorman most likely. Maybe it's Tommy Edman that you end up giving up on. I think it's probably more likely to be one of those first two names that I mentioned. And having a guy like this in your system it allows for a little bit of ability to backfill that spot. He's not going to be Nolan Gorman hitting 40 home runs, but could he hit 260 with 15 to 20? There's the potential, based on the reports, that he could be that guy for it.
From the 618, my buddy is the pitching coach for the AA Texas team and says that Lil T is better than Acuna.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's talking about Acuna's brother that was traded, not Ronald Acuna. If they got somebody better than Ronald Acuna, then yep, trade Jordan Walker.
I saw another report earlier today.
Supposed to be really good.
His brother's supposed to be great. I saw another report earlier today that people that watch the system regularly legitimately considered him to be a top 5 prospect in the Rangers minor league system. And I saw another report that people are higher on TK Roby than they are on Leiter. And I know a lot of people in a Cardinals fan base wanted Leiter coming from the Texas Rangers. It's possible the Cardinals got the better arm.
Well, Rivers and I talked with the Athletic Texas Rangers writer on Friday, and he said that there are a couple of guys that would make sense in a trade, and he brought up Roby's name first and said if not for the injury, he might have been somebody who skyrocketed to the top of the Rangers prospect system.
Some people thought he was going to be the number 1 prospect in their system.
Fangraphs said he was the best.
Keith Law thought if he was healthy, he could be even one of the top pitchers in all of minor leagues.
Well, not a high bar to clear.
Hey,
to be fair, because there's like 3 of them in his top 50, but he could have been included in that.
Still a bar, okay?
Next year by midseason, the guy that you just traded for from the Rangers, this arm, could be a legit top 50 prospect in Major League Baseball.
Could also lose his arm.
Kind of ceiling.
Yeah,
could also not pitch next year. So those are the 2 potential paths. Speaking of pitching for the Cardinals in 2024, it seems like we can write this name into the rotation in pin. We'll tell you who that is coming up next here on 101 ESPN.